Hello, and welcome to our first Friends and Fiction official book club discussion in 2023. Tonight is going to be a very special night and the best way to kick off the year. We are having our first nonfiction book discussion with the fabulous Zibby Owens. And I know you guys are so excited because we've been getting all of your messages and texts and questions. So I'm Lisa Harrison, for those that don't know, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host Brenda.
Hello.
And we are excited. Do you want to go ahead and introduce our wonderful guest?
I will do that. I'm very excited to introduce our guest for tonight and our first nonfiction read. Zibby Owens is an author, award-winning podcaster, entrepreneur, and CEO. She was celebrated as New York's most powerful bookfluencer, and we really like those, by New York Magazine, and is a regular contributor to Good Morning America and other broadcast outlets. She's the author of the memoir Bookends, which a few of us read for tonight, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, the children's book Princess Charming, and the editor of 2 anthologies. She's a graduate of Yale University and Harvard Business School, lives in New York with her husband Kyle of Morning Moon Productions and her 4 children.
Zibby is the queen of what I like to call the Zibbyverse, and she founded Zibby Media, a privately held media company, in 2018 with her award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. The company has since grown to include the publishing house Zibby Books, the magazine Zibby Mag, the podcast network Zibby Audio, the education platform Zibby Classes, and community events like Zibby Retreats, a virtual book club, and a writing community. She is a powerhouse, and we are beyond thrilled that she's joining us tonight.
Yes,
welcome
we are.
to the Friends and Fiction official book club, Zibby Owens.
Yay! Hey, that was quite an introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hi,
yes,
Brenda.
thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you on our first show of the new year and our first nonfiction read.
Oh, well, happy belated New Year, and thank you so much for making an exception for Bookends.
Yay.
I said I would just open up the whole time, so here I am. No, kidding.
We have gotten so much wonderful feedback about this memoir, so we're really excited to talk about it tonight. But first, we wanted to get to know you maybe a little bit better in a fun way. So Lisa wants to play a little game.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. Okay.
This won't be, it won't be bad.
This won't be bad.
We have a little game that we like to play at the Friends and Fiction official book club called A Round of Firsts. So we'll just ask you a few firsts and get to know you a little better. Okay. So the first one is, what was your first concert?
Your first concert? Tina Turner.
Ooh, that's awesome.
My dad is a huge Tina Turner fan, so yeah.
That's amazing. Your first car?
I had a Nissan Sentra, and I crashed it within like 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Not good.
Uh-oh.
But it was okay. It was adorable.
What was the first movie you remember seeing in the theater?
Dirty Dancing, which I think I saw in the theater like 11 times. Something crazy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's one of my favorite movies. What about your first Broadway play?
This is really going to date me here. Starlight Express. If anybody is watching and even knows what I'm talking about, put something in the comments.
Yes, put in the chat, please.
Yeah.
The first album that you ever bought. That dates me because I said album, but I mean, that's
I still say album.
I used to have this, I didn't buy it myself, but it was the Minnie Mouse Jazzercise album.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Jazzercise and Minnie.
Yeah. What about the first author that you met?
The first author I met was Zibby O'Neill. And we had this whole pen pal relationship. Yeah, we had a whole pen pal relationship. I would write her and she wrote back. And then like 2 years later, she flew to New York and took me to tea at the Plaza when I was 11.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh, wow. That is remarkable.
What about the first book you blurbed?
Well, my first book I blurbed ever on the cover just came out.
Ooh.
Literally, I just got it like last week. Write the damn book already by Elizabeth Lyons. And there is my blurb right there at the top. First time
Yay,
top
that's
blurber.
amazing.
Yeah.
And the first book you remember reading as a child?
Charlotte's Web was my first chapter book, but I already wrote about that, so it's kind of boring. But yes.
We
No,
were
that's
wondering.
okay.
We were like, we know that was grief, but we wonder if that's her first. So that's a great first book.
It
And the
I'm
last
sure I
one-
read other books first, but I can't remember.
And our last one is the first author you signed under Zibby Books.
Oh, that is such a good question. I think it might be Alicia, who is our first author coming out. Yeah, Alicia Fernandez Miranda. She had written for Zibby Mag, or whatever it was called then. Moms Don't Have Time to Write.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm so excited about that.
You did not
we'll
ask
talk about
first
them.
kiss? I was like bracing myself for that. You don't ask those kinds of questions?
We want it to be nice, but if you want to share first kissed, we will not discourage you.
We weren't going to put you in that position. But
Oh, okay. Well, I won't say much except that there were some braces involved, so I'll leave it at that.
oh, I think that's a great answer, Zibby.
Yeah. I think we've all had
All
those braces kisses at some point in our life, and they don't always go well. So
No.
Okay, for
Well, I never
everyone
had
watching.
braces.
You never had braces. Wow.
No, I didn't.
You have like
I
perfect
should
teeth.
have, but
I did, but you can't tell because I didn't wear my retainer like I should have. So
Oh my gosh, my son
my
just broke
goodness.
his retainer and now I'm like dealing with replacing that. So I'm like,
Um,
just put it in
oh,
broken.
no.
They're like it's like in two pieces. But anyway, it's
Yeah,
fine.
super glue. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
yeah.
So for those of you
Oh.
watching, we want to remind you that we will be spoiler free till about 7:15-ish, but after that, spoilers are fair game. So please put your questions for Zibby in the chat, and we will pull live questions throughout the show. Brenda, do you want to kick off the bookends discussion?
But can I just say thank you to all the
Yes.
readers first? Am I allowed to do that?
Yes.
Can I just say thank you so much? I thought I was actually going to see everybody tonight, so I was going to be like, "Oh, you sent me that letter." But so many people reached out and emailed me or DM'd me or posted about my book, and I feel like it's been my pub week or something. Like so much attention, and all from friends in fiction, and I just could not be more grateful. I feel like I've found so many people who connected to the story in really personal ways, and it makes me feel so good to have found an audience here in the new year and all of that. So I just wanted to thank both of you for giving attention to the book in this way, and to everybody who actually read it, which is really wonderful. So thanks.
Oh, thank
that's
you.
wonderful, Zibby.
Our reading community is pretty special, and they have embraced this book. We haven't, me and Brenda were talking about it last night, the level of excitement and how many people have reached out and talked about it. We were like, maybe we need Zibby on every.
I mean, I'm here. I work for you now.
Great.
So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to us.
Yes, thank you so much. And I just want to say, before we actually get into like the meat of the discussion, I just wanted to let you know, I felt like your memoir, it was just riveting. As I read it, I just thought it was profound the way that you were demonstrating through your stories that financial advantage, for one thing, doesn't provide all the answers, and that you had struggles with all the same issues that everyone else has, and you share them to benefit everybody and to help others along in their journey. And I just thought that was remarkable. So thank you for that, Zibby. And I wanted to give you a chance, if there's any people listening, watching out there who have not read your memoir yet, could you give us just a little snippet of what they're going to find? Because we're going to go spoiler free in about 5 minutes. So
okay, what you're gonna find. Bookends is my deeply personal story from childhood till today, tracking the ups and downs, particularly centered around a series of losses. I feel like the heart of the story is when I lose my best friend. This isn't a spoiler because it happens. Well, maybe it's a spoiler, but anyway, that's like the heart of the story for me, and one that I've kept coming back to a million times when I lost my best friend on 9/11. But it's really an ode to reading and an ode to books, and the way that books have sustained me emotionally throughout my life, from the first book I read to the books now that I'm publishing. I trace my family history into, I mean, briefly, to why books are important in my family. And, I go through falling in love again. And there's a lot of stuff in there, highs and lows, and ultimately how I didn't give up and how this actually became a book. Is that, I don't know. I haven't done a pitch in a while, but that's basically.
That's great.
Hey, well, that sounds good to us. I really enjoyed the way that you wove the reading that impacted you into your stories. Because I wondered how you remembered that so well. Were they just so powerful pieces of your life?
Well, when I was writing it, I thought of everything in terms of scenes. And when I started, I was like, what scenes do I absolutely have to include in this book? And a lot of those scenes did involve books, like I did remember, but not every scene. So sometimes I had to go back and Google, like, what were people reading in 1992, or I don't know, something. And I would go through like hundreds and hundreds of books that either came out that year or were popular that year. And then I would be like, oh, that's what I was reading. And then once I saw the book, I knew where I basically was when I read it. But sometimes I couldn't bring it to mind. And then I went back after I wrote each chapter at the very, very end and titled each chapter with a title of a book name. And then I also, just to point out how truly clever I am, I'm just kidding, but kind of. Then I realized at the very end I had enough sections to spell out the word bookends in all the sections. I don't know. I'm like I'm such a structure geek. So anyway, I wanted to do something fun.
That
is
amazing.
That I did not figure that out.
Well,
there you go.
That's a bonus for people that listen to the audio, because we don't see it. I read it and listened to it. I did both. But if you only listen to the audio, you miss that. So that is so cool. I'm all about it.
Interesting.
The lesson for me is look at the table of contents always.
Well, as you know from when you were here for the Zibby Awards, I do have a Zibby Award for the best table of contents. So I had to up my table of contents game myself.
Well, you did win.
And it goes to Zibby.
I'm not allowed. I'm excluded. I'm disqualified.
That's funny. Well, Zibby, for our next question, we have a kind of a surprise guest tonight who's going to come in and ask you her question. And we want to welcome tonight Christy Woodson Harvey, a founding Friends in Fiction author and author extraordinaire. Welcome, Christy.
Hi,
Christy.
I'm so glad to see you guys.
Oh, yay. That's such a nice surprise.
Hi, Zibby.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad to see you.
I'm so glad to see you too. This is so great. You've created this amazing thing here. I was just saying I'm so indebted to Lisa and Brenda and this whole community who read the book. Everybody's been so nice. I can't get over it.
Well, everybody loves you. Oh my gosh.
Oh. I have your galley here, by the way. I'm so excited.
You do?
You haven't seen it?
I mean, I have, but I was actually had you on my list to send me one. So glad to know you've already got it.
Oh no, it's right over there. I just reorganized. So yeah, no, it's over there.
I'm so excited. That's awesome.
And it comes out in July, right? July?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my first July. I only have like 4 or 5 July books so far. So
that's awesome.
I can't wait.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I'm one of the first. Yay. Oh, well, you know how much I loved Bookends and you've just, gosh, talk about people who are supportive and generous and amazing. And wow, all these ladies on this screen right here.
You too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm so glad you're
Now,
here.
Christy,
you'll be happy to know that since I saw you, I have divested most of my URLs.
I am not happy to know that at all. I love that about you. I was like, oh my God, like I I think this is genius. And I've told you, my husband does this too. I think it's brilliant. Like, can we tell them?
We were talking at dinner when we saw each other last that I have this bad habit of like acquiring domain names for any business I think I might eventually want to go into, or then I get it in like .net, .org, .whatever, all like, and so I had racked up so many that I finally went in and I was like, oh, this is such a bad idea. So anyway, I got rid of most of them.
I love it. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's brilliant, and it's like $9.99. Like, why?
It's adding
not?
up.
And you know, Zibby, for most people, that would be a total waste of time. But for you, since you do everything, it's not a waste of time at all, because you'll probably eventually use all those domain names.
No, I can't. But anyway, I've been thinking of you as I've culled the list.
Have y'all talked about the new bookstore yet?
We have not.
I'm sorry. They brought me on to ask one question, and I've already gone on 2 tangents.
She's
Y'all should not have me.
Well, you had such a great question. We were like,
I know, right?
Christy's question is so
What's
great.
your question?
Okay, well, I'll ask you my question, but I do want to hear about the bookstore too. So, you know, anybody who's read Bookends, it's extremely clear, you know, from reading the book and just from watching you. I mean, if you just follow you or you see you, that you're incredibly driven, and that, you know, there are obstacles in your way and things happen just like they do for everybody. And it's not easy, and it's not always smooth sailing, but you power through. Like you redirect, you overcome, you move on to plan B. Like you're really, really good at pivoting and doing something different and making it work, you know, whatever that looks like. So I think my question is not how do you do it, because that would be too long of an answer, but what drives you? Like, what is your why? So like, what is the thing that separates you from the people who just say, you know what, it's too hard, I'm going to give up? Like, what is that thing for you?
I actually think I was born with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is part of who I am. That
Okay.
I can't actually, the most seen I feel like I felt, I just read this book by Catherine, I'm blanking on her last name. I feel terrible. Like The Perfectionist's Guide to something. Losing, anyway, it literally outlined like all the things. Like I get depressed if I'm not busy enough. Like my happy state is when I'm overwhelmed and stressed, which makes no sense because then I'm overwhelmed and stressed.
Right.
But that makes me feel good. That's like how I feel most like productive and happy. So I don't know why. I literally think I'm hardwired for this. There are a lot of people in my family who are like this, and on both sides of my family. I don't know. I think I was just born in this way.
I love it. Okay. That's a good answer.
Awesome.
Amazing.
So before all of this, because obviously I didn't know you before, like part of you were such a, you know, huge, I don't even know how to say it, like such a huge part of the book scene, and you were doing all of these things. So you've always been like this. Well, I mean, you have 4 children, so that should just sum it up right there.
No, I mean, like I couldn't just go to Weight Watchers. I had to like become a lifetime member and then a receptionist and then a leader and then a private coach. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to do the whole thing. Like I can't just join something. I had to be like captain of all my teams. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, I don't know.
No, I have a little bit of that for sure. I have a little bit of that. It's funny because I actually
You're
think
driven too, Christy. Don't.
Yeah.
No. Oh, absolutely. No, I know. And I think, and I always have been, I'm the same as you. Like I always have been. Like, even I remember being like young and being like, well, why would I like join a club when this club doesn't exist? And I could just make it really hard and start it from scratch and get the people and, you know, like, why would you do something that was just easy? That would make no sense at all. I remember I became the editor of our high school newspaper, and it had been the same for like 100 million years. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like there are softwares now. We can do this. We are going to become a glossy magazine, and we're going to get the software. And I made the team go out and raise money and get like advertisers, and everyone hated me. But it worked.
That's amazing.
But it was great. So I get it. Cause I do think that I am like you in some ways, but not you really do a lot.
Well, you really do a lot too. You write a lot. I don't write as much, you know, you're like a powerhouse writer. That's not what I wasn't able to be as successful in that arena. So, you know.
Well, whatever you put your mind to.
Well, kind of. not
She's the
really.
Okay,
queen
but I
of
do want to know.
the
I
queen
do
of
want
the
to know.
Zippyverse.
Yeah, exactly. Before I let y'all get back to your regularly scheduled programming, I'm loving seeing the bookstore, and I just feel like that is like the perfect feather in your cap, you know?
Honestly, that's like all I want to do right now. I want to do like
Yeah.
the podcast and the bookstore and just like ride off in the sunset or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I emailed you. Didn't I mean I don't
Yes,
maybe
I was gonna say I owe you an email.
Okay, fine. But no, I'm excited because I'm putting together, well, for those who don't know, I'm opening a bookstore February 18th and 19th in Santa Monica on Montana Avenue at 11th Street, and it's called Zibby's Bookshop, and I'm so excited about it. We're stocking about 1,300 titles, but we can't have that many of each one, so I've decided to do like fewer copies. Oh, thanks. I thought we were about to read your emails or something. Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah,
There
that's
it is,
bookstore.
Zibby's Bookshop.
Brenda's
But-
good like that.
For anyone who's around opening weekend, I'm trying to line up. I have, I think, 25 authors already. Like authors every hour they're signing, so you'll always come and meet somebody interesting.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Our chat is exploding with love, and we have several members that say they cannot wait to be there opening weekend.
Oh, great. Amazing.
So I know
Amazing.
Debbie Stone is going to be there. Take pictures, Debbie. And Kimberly Brock says hello, who is a Zibby Award nominee.
Amazing.
There's so many. I just wanted to share that about the
I
bookstore.
know, I love it.
Everyone
That's
is
our
so
like we're like our
excited.
Zibby Award winning Friends in Fiction book club. That's our new like, little tagline. I love it.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for being here and surprising Zibby and helping us introduce the bookstore question.
Sorry.
No, that was perfect.
No, that was perfect.
We have a list of things to discuss, and that was at the
I
top
know,
of
and
it.
I don't know if we're going to get to them all in this whole what Lisa coined the term as Zibbyverse.
Can I just call out what the sign behind you on top of the beautiful blue and white books? Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
I'm not going to say it out loud. You can say it. Hold it up to the screen.
If you're not going to say it, I'm not going to say it, but I do have to tell you, it says, I came to slay with a B word after it that we won't say on screen in case there are children watching. But the funny thing about it is, so we were at Oxford Exchange, like the four of us, Friends of Fiction, we were doing a live event at Oxford Exchange. And Laura, who runs Oxford Exchange, had that sign in her office, and we were all like, "Oh my gosh, this is so awesome!" And she sent us all one when we got home.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And so I was actually doing a video that I had been like putting off, and it needed to be like really professional, and I had everything set up, and I finally was like, I've done this, I've gotten it, it's great. And they sent it back to me, and they were like, we don't care, but do you want this sign to be this visible? Because it was like my head and the sign. And I was like, no, I'm going to have to do it all over again. Like I'd already taken everything down,
gosh.
like makeup. I was like, oh my God, like I can't have that in the back of my video. So anyway.
Oh, that's
Boy,
hilarious.
this is perfect, like on the nose after the talk about being driven. Like this is literally what's on your bookshelf. So, you know, I was like, you're a good friend. And like,
Yeah. All right. Well, I love you all. I'm going to let you get back to your programming, and I'm going to go email Zibby, and I'm going to go watch like a polite participant in the Facebook.
No, this was such a highlight. I'm so glad to have
Love
seen
you, Christy.
Love you guys. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
Christy.
For
me.
taking the time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
such
we
a nice
sometimes have
surprise. Thanks,
surprises.
ladies. That was awesome. I love
We
Christy.
love our Christy.
She's amazing.
I know.
How did you two end
Well-
up hosting the book club? How did this come to pass?
Oh.
Well, in the
Brand.
early first couple of months, I guess, of the Friends in Fiction Wednesday night or book club, the Friends in Fiction page and the Wednesday night shows, I was really interested in all of the authors and their books and the comments and everything. So I said, hey, why don't we start a book club? And Kristen Harmel wrote back on Facebook and said, hey, we think that would be a great idea. We just started planning it from there. And then we later recruited Lisa, whom I did not know at the time. and we've become just wonderful friends. She's in Atlanta, I'm in South Carolina, and it kind of grew from there. So just kind of happenstance.
When I joined, we had less than 1,000 members, and now we are right at 16,000 members.
Oh my gosh,
which
that's
just
amazing.
blows me away.
That's
It blows
amazing.
me away too. So,
Yes.
and have celebrated our 2-year anniversary, working on 3. So
Wow.
very
Yeah.
excited.
Crazy.
Well, speaking of our book club members, we have a question from Sherry, and I'm going to mispronounce your last name, but it looks like Cowette. And Zibby, she wants to know, you talk in your book about your college years, and there's a quote that says, "At school, we took turns hosting, discussing novels and memoirs over goblets of red wine as snow fell outside." She wants to know, did you ever dream at that time that someday your memoir would be the one discussed by book clubs like ours?
Oh, that's such a sweet question. I always dreamed that I would write a book and have it published from the time I was writing. I mean, but did I actually think it would happen? No. I mean, I dreamed, I hoped that like I would just have the book out, but my dreams never extended beyond having it out. At one point, when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be the youngest person ever to have a published novel. And then I'm like, okay, so it happened at like, I'm like about to publish a novel next year and I'll be 47, but that's okay. All good. Not exactly the youngest, but anyway.
Hey, that's fabulous. That's
Amazing.
wonderful. Well, I know we have some questions coming in the chat, so we'll go to Lisa in a moment for that. But I did want to ask you this question from our dear Bubba Wilson, who always has such wonderful observations. She wants to hear more about how you identify those moments that change the course of your life, like you outlined in the memoir, like the janitor who leaves the library on the library light on for your grandfather, Fabio's vacation, and those things. She says, Zibby made me want to explore my own past to see if I can trace anything in my present life back to a single person or moment. The book was amazing.
Oh, thank you. I heard from her too. How did I identify those moments? You know, the part about my grandfather, I didn't even have in the beginning. And I was at my cousin's wedding and they were telling me more about, like reminding me more about my grandfather, and my uncle was talking about it. And I didn't want it to be one of those books where it was like, harkening back 200 years, my forebears. You know, I wanted to like get right into it. So I wasn't going to do a whole backstory thing. But as the memoir like went on, I was like, I have to provide some sort of context. And then I didn't know about the janitor. Did I know about it? If I knew about it, I forgot until my uncle reminded me at this wedding. And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like, that's why that's like, it's all, it's like coming full circle here. So that's why I put that in. And in terms of other moments, I don't know. I think if any of us just like sit down and say top 20 like pivotal moments in your life, you'll pretty much be able to do it, right? They'll just come pouring out. Or ask yourself like the moment that, you know, when my life really went in a different direction, or the moment my life shifted gears or went off course, or and I think we all know that about ourselves and our stories. It's just a matter of literally writing it down and hoping someone else cares. So,
oh, that's funny. Well, I know one of the things that was so sort of poignant to me was how much you shared about your career path and how sort of nonlinear it was. You know, you thought this and maybe that, and then and that's, it's comforting in a lot of ways to know that, because most people don't wind up where they think they are going to be. And so that was, to me, a really important part of the memoir.
Yeah, and I don't know that I've finished the winding. You know, that like sometimes I'm like, what if this whole thing is a blip and like 3 years from now I'm just like like on the beach or something? I don't know. Like what if I just go another direction? What if I get really into something else? Or I don't know. I just like life is long. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like in it for, like I'm not like flash in the pan. I'm trying to build all this stuff, but like I don't know. I think who knows where this will go. I'm very open-minded. And maybe some of the things I'm doing will stay and maybe I will have, jettisoned some others. But I think maybe this isn't the end of the story. Maybe it's all leading somewhere else still. So I'm just riding the wave.
Well, that will be in bookends too.
Door stop.
You heard it here first. Door Stops, the sequel to Bookends.
I've never talked about there being a sequel. That's just so funny. Anyway, hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We have lots of comments in the chat. A lot of comments about shelf envy for your beautiful bookshelves. Our members are going insane for that.
Yeah, it's my whole my whole office here. So it goes all the way around. And oops. Yeah. There you go.
Amazing. So one part of the Zibby verse that is very successful that we all love is your podcast. And one of the questions from the chat is, you've had so many great guests on your show. Is there any dream guest that you have that you haven't been able to sign yet, or someone that you want to have on?
I'd really like to have on Judy Blume. And actually, my husband is at Sundance. He's a film producer, and he just got to see the documentary about her at Sundance, and I'm like so jealous. So anyway, I'd love to have her on.
That would be awesome.
That's a good one.
And that movie is coming out soon. The Are You There? Yeah. Are You There?
That too. Yes.
Margaret. Yeah.
Yep. I know. I was
So
actually invited to a screening and I couldn't go, and I was like, oh my God, I'm and then I had to justify to myself, why are you willing to miss all this stuff you have to do to go see Are You There, God It's Me Margaret on like a Tuesday at 2 or something? And I'm like, I can't do it. But anyway, I'm very excited to watch it.
Oh, me too.
That's funny.
So from the chat, Anissa wants to know, what are some of the main qualities that you look for in the authors that you have signed to Zibby Books?
Well, there are qualities we look for in the books themselves, and they're really 4 things: a strong sense of voice, a strong sense of place, propulsive narratives, and beautiful writing. And then in the authors, I mean, if we have to fall in love with the book. Like, it can't be, well, this has potential here, and like at this point, or not even at this point, like everybody on the team reading it has to be like 100% we love it. And those are the books we end up going after, because every book is such a big investment and time and energy in every which way. So and in terms of the authors, they have to be like nice people. Like we want to surround ourselves with nice people. We have a very collaborative model. There's a lot of transparency and working together. Do everything, even just like picking fonts for the interior of the book. Like, we work very closely with all the authors. They were just all on our team Zoom today at 11, like, because a couple new ones hadn't been on a team Zoom. So we do a lot together. So you have to want to be like a team player and get along with others, I guess, which is probably a good thing for all of us to have. But.
Yeah.
Well, it's just wonderful. I'm sure the authors have a much different experience with your publishing process than they do one of the big houses, because I know you've talked about that before, about how you wanted to mold it from the beginning versus start with what's already being done.
Yes.
Shake it up a little bit. I love it.
Yeah. I have like, I have it. I can see how to even do it more, but I just cannot take on anymore. But I have all these other things that I think would be really great. But anyway, I've made a big dent, and in the author's experiences, they're for the most part just like so grateful and happy and having fun. And I tell them all the time, they're like, we can do everything in our power, but whether or not a book hits and like really catches fire is not in anyone's control. It's like a movie or a song or whatever. You can't force it. It just has to be picked up and whatever. But we can make sure that the process of getting there is nice and that they feel important. And now I have to just make it a sustainable business and we'll all be good.
Well, I'm sure that is going to be the case. And it's so funny. We kind of took you down a rabbit hole inadvertently, but it's all related to your memoir because it's all about that being driven and those projects that you've just flung yourself into. So, but we did have another question specifically about bookends, and this is from our book club member and Zibby Award nominee Leslie Hooten. And Leslie would like to know, first, she said your memoir was riveting, especially surrounding your friendship with Stacy. I know you talked extensively about Stacy, but she wants to know how that friendship has changed your approach to friendship and your relationships today.
That's a good question. Hi, Leslie. I think it's changed my approach to really everything in that I'm very aware at all times how like limited our time is with everything. So I'm always like racing against time, trying to appreciate the people in my life, make decisions that I won't regret. I wish that it translated into my like spending tons of time with all my girlfriends, but that's not the case at this very busy stage of life, not just for me, but all my girlfriends with kids, and everybody's just in like such a crazy phase of life at this age, and parents and kids and work, and it's, I'm sure everybody on Zoom is just, but I appreciate them and really value them, and I really value like real conversations, which I get, by the way, in the podcast, even though they're not old friends, they're strangers a lot of the time. I love making that connection where you find the spark of a new friendship. I'm like kind of addicted, I think, to that feeling. Someone's like, so basically you go on like 7 blind dates a week. And I'm like, kind of.
I love that.
But no, I mean, it changed everything. It changed everything. I mean, once you've like packed up the belongings of someone you love and have to decide like what to throw away and what to keep, I can't look at any of my stuff the same way. I don't look at any of the people in my life the same way. Very grateful for every day. And I always remind myself, like today I had kind of like a not great, kind of down in the dumps type of day. It was like raining and gross, and I'd had some bad news and all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, but now you're wasting this one day. Like it was getting dark, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you wasted that whole day being upset about something stupid, and you're not gonna get this day back. Like when I play tennis, I'm like, how many more strokes am I gonna get in my life? I should focus more on this stroke, So it's kind of like a reverse fear tactic or something. I don't know. the darkness of my mind.
Well, it's a good thing you thrive on stress then, because that
yeah,
but it's certainly clearly
I
Go
can
ahead,
totally
Lisa.
relate to that though, because I'm the same way. Like, well, I don't have kids. I'm single, so but I have to stay busy. Otherwise, I start focusing on things like I don't want to ever be the one stuck focusing on the negative. It's like, I want to keep going. I want to do this. I want to do that. I got to stay busy. And I'm like, go, 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 go. And I don't sleep. And I'm sure I have a feeling the queen of the Zibby verse doesn't sleep much either.
it's been hard lately. It's bad though. I'm not like proud of this. I feel best when I can sleep until late, but yeah, this whole week, like I've had 4 days in a row of like getting up in the 4s, and today I was up in the 3s, and I'm like, you can't get up in the 3s, but then like I get up and then my dog wakes up, and then I'm like, well, I might as well feed the dog, and then like I'm like, well, I'm right
Then
next to
you're
the coffee machine, I might as well make the coffee.
And then you're up.
And then I'm like, well, now that
then
I'm
you're up.
halfway up, I should just read this whole book. So
Yeah. We have a question from the chat, comment from the chat. Nicole says, reading Bookends and my what if year has definitely made me question some things and dream of making a new path.
amazing.
She would like to know, what advice do you have for someone who wants to be in the book industry? And she said, asking for a friend, do you have any remote positions?
Not today, but you never know. I'm really trying to do as much as possible in person. It really makes a difference now that we're like in the
Yeah.
thick of it. And at first it was fine to be remote, but we really like, I'm not hiring more people unless they're New York or LA or whatever. So um advice on getting into this industry. I mean, I don't know. I did it in such a roundabout way. I didn't even like mean to insert myself until until I wanted to. I guess it depends what you're most interested in. If it's, I mean, doing a club like book club like this is a great thing. And I think you'd be surprised by how many authors really appreciate DMs and posts, and they really care and listen and read all that. So a lot of people are really open to, oh, poor authors, I'm like throwing everybody under the bus, but I mean, if you ask for advice, or if you ask to help them, or I don't know, there's one person, actually that's not true, I guess we hired somebody remote, but I don't know, she was just so enthusiastic and like proved herself with like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but that's all really bad advice. I think if you're young and starting out, a lot of people are doing the Columbia publishing course, which helps a lot with recruiting and things like that. I think you should look at the announcements on Publishers Marketplace and Poets and Writers, LinkedIn, connect with people on LinkedIn, offer just to shadow someone for a little bit. I don't know, just like Alicia did, take an internship. Like, say you'd love to do a however old you are, a midlife internship or whatever, and people will probably say yes, and then you just get to know them, and then if you impress them, then it's up to you.
Yeah, that's great advice.
That is great advice. That kind of brings me to, you're mentioning that your positions were in New York and LA. We had a question about your experience growing up in New York City. Edie wants to know if you think of New York City as much as a character in your life I'm sorry, let me start over with that. Do you think of New York City as a character, not just a place in your life, as the people having lived there most of their lives do?
Yes. I love that question. I feel like that's something I would say. So it feels like New York is kind of like a character in the book too. Yeah.
Yes, I did that in a very roundabout way. My apologies.
No, but I can see I say stuff like that. So yeah, I think that it was definitely a character in the book, particularly in the way it was sort of wounded and rebounded in the same way that I did over time. And although right now, I don't know. I mean, there's just so much crime in the city right now. I'm not sure it's in like the best, not sure it's in the best moment in its history, but New York goes through this all the time and then it comes back up. It's so cyclical, and we'll always be here stronger than ever. But I think the message from New York is that sometimes it takes a huge loss to really bring people together. So
absolutely. And you expressed that so well. I get why Edie asked that question, because it was almost like a living, breathing person in your memoir.
Yeah.
And for
I think
us,
Lisa has.
Yeah. Well, for us coming straight off our first trip to New York, I felt like it was part of I felt like it was a character when I was reading Bookends, and it just made me love it even more, Speaking of favorite parts of the book, for me, one of my favorite parts is you finding your soulmate in Kyle.
Yeah.
It gives a single lady like myself hope. But I have to say, when we were at the Zibby Awards,
I have this
we met Kyle.
Mug.
Aww.
we look like babies. That was like 8 years ago or something. I don't know, 7 years ago. But yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is so cute. When we met Kyle at the Zibby Awards, he was exactly as you described him. He was so kind. He was so friendly and welcoming to me and Brenda. And we were like, he's the nicest guy. So that was really cool to read your story in the book. So we have 2 Kyle follow-up questions. One is, does Kyle still play tennis? And did Kyle's love of LA influence your decision to open the bookshop there?
Yes, Kyle still plays tennis, and we still play together. We just played over the holiday break. He plays though every week, New York or LA, no matter where he is. He almost always plays during the week. Did it influence? So the reason why the bookstore is in LA is in part because Kyle loved LA so much, but also I loved LA. I lived there after college, and my brother lives there with his wife and kids. And after my divorce, or even separation, I was sad to be at home without the kids, because my whole life is around my whole home here is like all kid, except for my room here. But anyway, we started going to LA more, and Kyle had never been to California, and he fell in love as soon as he got off the plane. I guess I put this in the book. And it's our happy place. Like, I feel like it's our place where we do go out and see friends, because we go with the kids, but we go a lot without the kids. And so we have our own little life. And when we're without the kids, we can call friends and be like, sure, we'll drive to the east side of LA. Like, we don't have kids. We'll do whatever. So I think people think we're like really nice and accommodating. Whereas our friends here, I'm like, you can come over from 7 to 8. Oh no, sorry, you missed your window. See you in a month.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Zibby, we
So,
wanted to share. I'm sorry I didn't realize you were talking.
oh, that's
We wanted
so
to share
cute.
our photo of Kyle so everybody can see from the
I
Zibby
love that.
Awards.
Oh, I love
He
it.
was so nice.
He is very nice. He is very nice. He is the real deal. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't tell you a kind of a funny story when I first walked into the night at the awards. Your dog was there too, and I glanced over and I saw this man tossing something from the charcuterie board to this dog, and I thought, how rude for a guest.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, it's his home.
oh, that's so funny.
It's so funny, Brenda.
People never know it's his house. When we first moved in, like the back door would ring, and like Kyle would open the door, and they were like, "Hey, do we need to wear like little booties to do the work on the plumbing work or whatever?" He's like, "No, it's fine." And they're like, "You sure? I hear the owner might be home." He's like, "I am the-" and he's like, "Yeah, it's okay. I am one."
I don't feel so bad then.
I know people. No, people always are like, "Oh, hey," Anyway, it's funny.
That's so funny.
Goodness.
That was a great night. Brenda, I think
It
you have another
was.
question, right?
I do. I do. And it's so funny. We're almost at our hour too, and it has flown
Oh my
by.
gosh.
But Zibby, and just sitting here talking with you like this, I'm just so amazed and struck by how you were in your memoir, this closed, untalkative young person who just struggled with that, and now you're interviewing on Good Morning America and Zoom and everywhere. How did you get over that shyness? Because you described it as like not just being shy, but as virtually a condition.
Yeah. I really was so shy. Yeah, I did go, and I went through this whole summer I wrote about in the book, where I literally could not talk, and all I did was like analyze conversation patterns and think like, well, how are they making conversation so easily? What are they saying? How did they know to say that? Like, just like watching it go by like a tennis match. It took a while. I must say though, even then, if I could talk to like one, like a close friend or one person, so this whole thing and the podcast and all that, like that, this is my sweet spot. I'm like talking to two people, do you know what I mean? Who know all about me. This is great. And then the people I interview, I have so much to say. I've read their book, I've researched them. So, but I honestly think the biggest change was after I got divorced and met Kyle and had this like new life that I never thought I would have, with all this like excitement and energy. And yeah, it's just like it's all just been like this new shot at life. And it's just given me so much, I guess, confidence and um yeah, energy. And I
Oh,
also I also feel like the more I've shared, and I've written personal essays my whole life. I don't know why. I just like that's always been my go-to thing that I do. But as I've connected with more and more people and interviewed so many people and gotten to know them and read their books and everything, like there's nothing I worry about that is like weird about me anymore. You know, like I used to be
Mm,
self-conscious about stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Like, first of all, anybody else who has anxiety feels the same way as me about like 8 million things. And like,
yeah.
you know, I've read so many books about people with the same feelings about their body and same feelings about their family or you know what I mean? Like all these areas, intelligence or feeling this way or that way or insecure about this or that. And I just feel so, um, not alone because of everybody else. And so I am less self-conscious now because I realize how much bigger, not that I was like living in a bubble, but like these deep connections and like peering into so many souls all the time. Like it's just,
mm,
I feel like there's nothing I should ever be self-conscious about, I guess.
And I have to say
wow.
that by
That's awesome.
you sharing your story, this amazing memoir that we all loved, and the honesty that you shared, you have made so many other people feel like they're not alone. So
Oh,
thank you for that.
good. It's like one of these big circles, you know, this
Full
continuous
circle.
loop of sharing and validation and yeah, even Instagram, you know. I mean all of it. Just people are out there,
Mhm.
not just where you
Yeah.
live, like out there who are like all these notes. I mean, it's just great. Anyway, I'm always like, oh my gosh, we should be friends. But
Well, I'd like to read a quote from the book. Our book club member, Dawn, said that it was her absolute favorite quote and it spoke so much to her. And I think this quote sums up how a lot of us feel. And it says, books for me are life saving. They have been my companions, my teachers, my entertainment, my emotional outlets, my escape. They've taught me how to cook, how to love, how to mourn, how to cope, and how to feel. They've allowed me to sort through my own feelings and escape into someone else's. Love it.
thank you.
And with that quote, we can kind of go into our next question from Mindy, which is what authors have inspired your love for books?
Oh, all of them. um,
All the ones behind you.
yeah, too many books. I know. I posted that yesterday and I was like, oh, this is such a woe is me post. I should take this down. Like, oh, I have too many books. I feel so sorry for me. Um, what authors? I
We can
mean,
relate.
right? I mean, it's not a problem. It's just, um, I don't know. I feel like there are authors like Irma Bombeck and Anna Quinlan and Nora Ephron and all these women sort of writing little missives about their lives. You know, like sharing little stories throughout time that are so relatable um and make you think, well, if they can share all that, like I can, you know, why can't I share similar things? Like I find things funny or whatever it is. Um, so I think some of them have been great examples.
Oh, that's great. Zibby, it's been such a pleasure talking with you tonight. Our hour is flying by, but we
I
don't want to let
know.
you, I know, we don't want to let you leave
Freeze
though
time.
without talking some more about some of your projects. So would you mind sharing a little bit about your upcoming retreats?
I would love to. Our next retreat is March 10th to 12th. Actually, I should say March 11th only because we're out of weekend passes, but we have day passes available in the Hamptons. If anybody would love to come, it's going to be really fun. Paulina Poroskova, Andrea Dunlap, who's a Zibby Books author, Katie Seiss, a writing thing with Anne Garvin, Lee Abramson. It's going to be amazing. And Then we're going to Nashville, April 28th to 30th, and I wonder who's going to be joining. That's your setup.
Oh, yes.
We
You.
will be with Zibby in Charleston.
Charleston.
So
We will be there.
Go to Eventbrite or go to go to Eventbrite and search Zibby Retreats, or go to zibbymag.com and look under the retreats thing. And you can get a ticket for the weekend. We're gonna have so much fun. We have 8 authors coming. And
We are so excited.
It's gonna be great. I basically like planned a wedding with Grasa, who I worked with. With the two of us, we have like dinners at all these great restaurants and activities, and oh my gosh, it's gonna be a blast. And it's Independent Bookstore Day while we're there, so we get to celebrate at Buxton Books.
Yay!
Oh,
I
yay, I
can't
love
imagine a
Buxton
better
Books.
better way to celebrate Independent Bookstore with Zibby. We're gonna have so much fun.
Yes,
I
so please
know,
buy
I'm
tickets
very
before they sell
excited.
out.
Yes, join us in Charleston.
I can believe that was like planning a wedding, though. Charleston is such an amazing city, but so much going on there. And trying to
Well,
coordinate all that.
I thought that we would get in before wedding season, but it turns out like no, all the rates went up, and I was like, are you kidding me? So it's much more expensive than I had anticipated when we started planning. If I had just picked like 2 weeks earlier, it would have been better. But anyway, it's a hot spot, but it'll be a great time.
Before we let you go, we have to ask, what are you reading, or what books are you excited about coming out? And I know 2 of them I think you're pretty excited about.
Yes, thank you for the Zibby books. My What If Year by Alicia Fernandez Miranda, our first book about a 40-year-old Latina Harvard grad mother of twins CEO who takes a year off to try 4 internships that she'd wanted to do since she was a child. And then our first novel, which comes out in March, Women Are the Fiercest Creatures by Andrea Dunlap. And that's why we're actually having a Fierce Women retreat. And that's about 3 women and the tech CEO in their lives, and how motherhood and careers and all of that intersect. So those are the Zibby books I'm looking forward to, but I'm also looking forward to so many other ones, including Christy Woodson Harvey's book, which I should grab from over there. But I just finished reading Rebecca Mackay's book. I have some questions for you, and that was really good. And then I finished Mame this morning by Jessica George. And I also
on
finished
my list.
I finished Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. Those are the 2 I just finished. And I'm reading a memoir now by Marion Nessel, who's a dietitian. That sounds bad. She's not really a dietitian. She's a pioneer of like food science, and one of the leading experts in the world. And her memoir is fascinating too. A little more clinical than I expected. And what do I have to read for the rest of the week? Then I'll be reading Tiffany
For the rest of the
McDaniel's
week.
On the Savage Side. This is all this week that I'm reading for.
Oh, bless your
yeah.
heart. That
Yeah.
little Southern.
Yeah.
So book club members, now how we always talk about our TBR mountains, we talk about we need reading clones. Just think about Zibby and how much she reads.
I read quickly though. I don't, some I read slowly, but some I have to speed up and read really quickly. So I don't know, good or bad, but I get everything out of it. So I can do it in like an hour.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Zibby, we do want to ask, I'm sure our book club members will want signed copies of either bookends or your anthologies or your children's book. Where can they get signed copies or book plates of your books?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm happy to sign for anybody, but I don't have them for sale anywhere. I could go to a bookstore and I could sign them at my own bookstore, and we could send them from there. If you just give me a couple weeks, you could have signed copies from my own bookstore. There you go.
And the opening for your bookstore again is
February 18th and 19th on 11th in Montana. And then next April, I'll have my novel come out. So that if I can get it done in the next month.
Yay.
Hey,
We are
isn't
so
it convenient?
grateful.
Isn't it convenient how that worked out for you to have a bookstore to give your to sell your signed copies from?
I know. I mean, I've literally been looking at spaces for years, and it all just the timing ended up working out. So this is my sort of woo-woo, have faith in the universe thing, that things end up happening sometimes not the way you planned, but in a way that works out.
It's amazing.
Oh, it is. We can't wait. I can't wait. I don't know if I will get to see it in person, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
There will be lots of videos.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, Zibby, we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being part of the Friends in Fiction Official Book Club, which we can now say is a Zibby award-winning book club. Our trip to New York for the awards ceremony was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we are grateful for that recognition and for you being with us tonight. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everybody, for reading Bookends and for spending this whole hour with me tonight. And thank you so much to you two, Brenda and Lisa, for having me, and to Christy for her cameo. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. And we will see you in Charleston.
See you in Charleston. Amazing. Can't wait. April 28th.
Thanks, Zibby, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Oh, she's just a dream.
I know. That could have lasted a lot longer. I know we
Oh
didn't
my
get to
gosh. We had
a lot
so
of the
many questions. I know. And our advanced questions. We just, what can you do?
I know. We had some great questions too. And I one of the not funniest ones, but one of the most interesting ones was the one Francine asked about her shyness, because if you saw Zibby today, you would have absolutely no clue that could possibly have been her feeling.
Right.
And just a fun night. So we're really happy to have had Zibby.
My cheeks hurt I feel like I smiled so much. I was just like,
smiled a lot tonight too.
Smiling the whole time.
Especially when Christy popped in, and she was just so, she was so bubbly and happy to be there. So that was fun.
And it was so nice to see Christy. Thank you for joining us, because I feel like we haven't seen her. We'll be seeing her soon though, but I feel like we haven't seen her lately. So it was so good seeing her tonight.
It has been a long time. Lisa, would you like to announce some of our upcoming events?
Sure. We have some pretty good stuff coming up. So we've got our happy hour on February 9th at 7:30 p.m. and with Ron Block, of course. And we have a surprise guest that Ron does not know, and he'll find out on February 9th. And then we have our book club discussion of The Vibrant Years with Sonali Dev on February 20th at 7 p.m. And then
here we are.
And there we are. Oh, I'm so excited about that book. And then we have The House of Eve on March 20th with Sadiqa Johnson, also at 7 p.m. And I'm super excited about that. We have what a great first quarter of 2023 we have. And we've got a pretty great quarter 2 and quarter 3. We will be announcing our April, May, and June book club picks at the happy hour with Ron on February 9th. So you definitely want to tune into that. We've got great book recommendations, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
And don't forget the reading challenge, which is now on the Friends in Fiction official book club page. And Anissa has worked tirelessly to give us those reading challenges for each month. So if you're interested in that, please go on the page and check it out.
Yes. And so January, the prompt was a one-word title. So those of you that read Bookends you already completed the January challenge, whether
It's a
you knew it or
twofer.
not. And for February, if you want to get prepared for February, the prompt is to read a book by a person of color. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I read Bookends obviously for January, but I also read Spare. So I did two, but Anissa, our queen of the reading challenge, has great recommendations, and she's probably read 15 books with a one-word title. I don't know how she does it either.
Yeah, let's
She's
guess how many one-word
that's
books,
fun in the
title
chat.
books Anissa has read. Pardon?
Ooh, Maria said she's read 6 books with one-word title. Go, Maria.
Go, Maria.
Yeah, I haven't had the time to read that many. I was saying
Well,
if
I feel
anyone
like
else.
after Zibby, I'm just sitting still. So
I know, no matter how much I read, I'm like, oh, I don't have time to. And I'm like, I can't say that anymore.
no, I can't
What
truly
would
say
the
that.
queen of the Zibby verse do?
WWZD.
WWZD. So one last time, we want to remind everyone, if you want to follow Zibby, she has so many Instagram, but you can follow her on Instagram at Zibby Owens. You can follow Zibby Book, Zibby Mag, Zibby Audio. There's a whole lot there, but you can always go to her website and see what's going on as well. And you can check out the events. And if you decide to do her amazing writers retreat, I shouldn't say it's a writers retreat. It's a retreat in Charleston, April 28th through the 30th. You will see Brenda and I there. We will be there too. So get the tickets before they sell out. And we hope to see some of you there.
Have a wonderful night and happy reading, everybody.
Happy reading. PB&J out.
Always love that. Bye-bye.
Good night.